This is the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Today is November the 14th, 2024. It is 5:30 p.m. and this is the work session. And before I start it all out, I want to welcome Tara Booth, who is going to be assisting us going forward. She has some time with the city of Trinidad already, so a lot of this stuff is not strange to her. So welcome, Tara.
Thank you.
Glad to have you and look forward
I'm
to
glad
working
to
with
be
you
here.
going forward. Actually, we could address that going forward because that's on the deal, but we want to do it anyway. First on the agenda tonight is Donna Leonetti, who's Los Animas County Treasurer. And she was invited here because if you will recall at the last meeting, Commissioner Hollett brought up that we'd like to see activity by Trinidad Urban Renewal related to blighted dwelling structures in and around the city of Trinidad. And so one of those things that was brought up by Commissioner Lopez is that maybe we should invite the county treasurer to talk about, you know, when it comes to the taxation part of it, if there's any possibilities, and I don't want to use the word abatement. I don't know how we would do that, but anyway, with you here, you know, we'll get some explanation of that, and if there's a Q&A, we'll do it. But I'll remind everybody, like I did in the notes, she does have a standing engagement on Thursday evenings, so we'd like to get her out of here within the next 30 minutes, so that she can move on to what she already had planned. But she was gracious enough to accept the invitation to be here this evening. Donna, without further ado or delay.
Sure.
I've introduced you, so.
Thank you for asking me to be here with you guys.
It's so good for you to be here.
Thank you, appreciate that. So my question is, what are you guys looking for?
Well, when I'm going to let you take that because that was where it came in. Your comments were related to, you know, that's something you want to look at in the future.
Yeah,
The
so
taxes were mentioned. So
Let me help set the table, okay? We had when we had another commissioner here, he had looked at, and we identified about 31 homes that were in blighted conditions in our service area, in our renewal authority area, okay? Then when we had Keely Williams, and she was working with the city, her and Steve Ruger confirmed that there were at least that many, and many of these were orphaned homes. And I use the word orphan because no one wants to claim the ownership of them anymore. And some of them have come into real disrepair, and they've been, you know, there's either asbestos or drug kind of things. And so these are homes, when we have an emergency or a crisis in housing here, workforce housing, housing for startup families to stay here, all those kind of things. And so we identified these 31 homes. And then about 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, in a city council meeting, it was brought up, and in an article after that, that the city, through the city attorney, Attorney Downs, that the city was looking at, okay, how could we help bring those homes back online, back into the marketplace? The college has a program where they take those homes. It's part of an education program put on through the Attorney General's office, and they're bringing that back. And so the reason a city has an urban renewal authority is because our toolkit is different than a municipality. We can do things with developers that are a little more not daylight, and we can get aggressive with some of those things. So with all that said, how do we bring those 31 orphaned properties back in? In many cases, there's a property tax, and some of these things, I don't want to use the word eminent domain because I think there's a better word for this than that. But some of these things are so orphaned that no one wants to claim ownership of them. But the properties are infill properties. They're the kind of things we'd like to see because there are services there. The road's already there. The sewer's already there. The septic's, you know, all the systems are there. We just need to clear those lots in some cases and bring those back into the market so our developer community that's here or that from the outside area can come in and do this. So when that's brought up and it's talked about taxes, in some of these cases, there isn't anybody to go back to and say, you owe $20,000 in back taxes on this property, pay that. So when we have these orphan properties and there are property taxes due on that, what's in our toolkit that we can work with our partners at the city or at the county to make it to where this blighted condition doesn't bring down the property values of the homes that are surrounding them, that aren't eyesores and safety concerns around that area.
Right.
How do we address that?
Well, I don't have any orphaned schedules. Everybody has an owner, pretty much, except, well, I brought at a county-held certificate list of taxes that nobody wanted to purchase that are still due. And there's probably about, 43 pages there. A lot of them are kind of iffy. There's like
43 pages.
Yeah. So those, if the city's interested in any of those, we can move forward on it. I just need to know which one you're interested in, and I can get you an amount that you can apply for a county treasurer's deed on if they're past the 3 years.
And explain that a little bit more, the county treasurer's deed. What is that? Is that, again, we don't want to use the word abatement, but does that?
Abatement has nothing to do with
Right. And
anything.
so
You gotta pay the taxes. You pay the taxes and hold on to the property for a certain period of time, right?
Okay.
Until they can.
So, no,
redeem it.
so the 3 years has passed, somebody hasn't paid that.
That starts, this is 30 years. The county can hold a certificate for 30 years.
Okay.
So we start from what is the first date at 1994? It should be to the,
94 to 2000, to
yeah.
December 31
Okay,
last year.
so like if you found a 1994 on there and you wanted to purchase that lien on it, you'd have to call me so I can get the total amount, because that's only 1 year of taxes due. And it could be 30,000, who knows? And then you can apply for a treasurer's deed on it.
And what is the treasurer's deed? Do we have to pay for that treasurer's deed? Do we have to cover the
You
cost
have
of
to
that?
cover, now the state changed the whole system. It's about $1,500 to apply for treasurer's deed. They have to go through an auction afterwards, but more than likely, nobody will bid against you because it's already been auctioned off in the first place. Then you can apply for a treasurer's deed and get it into your name. Then you'd have to quit title it to make sure, because you can't get a quit claim deed on it for, is it 7 years? 5 years? 7 years?
I'm not sure what that is.
I think it's 7 years.
I'm gonna-
To get clear title.
So these properties, though, we don't have the funds to do that. And there are a lot of properties that, again, are in blighted conditions, safety hazards.
Okay, so I would need a list of those properties.
Okay.
So I can research it to see what's going on with that certain piece of property.
But is there a mechanism to where, because we're not flush with cash, nor is the county, nor is the city. No one is.
No, 'cause
Nor is
more
our
than
development
likely,
community.
It's owned by somebody. And more than likely, it might have another certificate on it, another certificate holder, that maybe you can possibly get a hold of him to take over, buy the assignment from him.
Basically, are we stuck with these properties for 30 years with no ability? Because after a period of time, they become to the point where they're unrecoverable by the investor community. You're not going to get an investor to purchase that property because the cost to just clear it and mitigate the damage is more than where you would come from.
Right.
And so I just am hoping there's some mechanism that allows us to bring those back on property. Otherwise, we've almost said we're okay with little cancer units in our communities that create safety and blight and disinvestment
Yeah.
in some of our communities.
So one of those 31 properties might be on that list there where you can apply for a treasurer's deed.
But we have to pay for it.
I don't know. Yes. you do
Yeah,
have
so,
to. That's the only.
Again, since the development community since the owner doesn't want to do that, I mean, most of the time the owner understands that that's a caved-in roof and that's a bad property and I can't get a loan to bring my property up. That's why it's
I'm going to tell you an example.
Please.
We have one close to the courthouse. I'm not going to mention any names. It's probably back taxes, maybe 30,000 right now. The certificate holder doesn't want to move forward because of what happened to the building. So he's kind of stuck now, and it's up for tax lien sale again. Because he did not endorse and pay the taxes again. So it's a mess.
Could I chime in?
Please.
I'll give you a for instance, because we communicated on this a year or two ago. The house on Goddard and Arizona Avenue.
Is that the one that was burned or
No,
fired?
it was, the city went in and boarded it up. They had to go in and
Some meth house, isn't it, or something like that?
Yeah, there was some.
1700 Arizona.
There was some
Oh.
activity in there that didn't, well, the owners are known on it, I mean, and
I
it
know
was
what
looked
you're
at.
talking about.
And yeah, so I think the money against it at last time,
12,000.
it was bigger than that.
And $12,000 lien right now.
$12,000
That's not
lien plus
including-
all the others.
So it has a certificate on
Yeah.
it?
I don't know about that. We've been
Okay.
in contact with
I'm
the
sure
owner.
it does.
So it needs about, if I remember the listing you gave me on there, it was in the $24,000 range, not only the city's lien of whatever is 12,000.
Oh, a special tax lien?
But,
They
yeah,
had to go
but then
clean
it
it
was
up?
all this
Right.
other stuff. So it would have been, in order to acquire that property, would have required that, through those processes, and that money on that house at that time was $24,000.
Right.
And that, so, we've made that kind of contact before, and that one in particular.
So that one in particular is still under the owner's name, not unless you can get a hold of that owner to see if they would deed it over to you, then maybe you can work with the county.
And actually, it's a deceased owner.
Oh.
There's a deceased owner. Yeah, that's why there's some muddy waters there, because I know the name on it, but I won't mention it. But yeah, the owner's deceased on it, and I think there's a relative or descendant of theirs in town, but they don't give squat about it, so that's the way it is.
See, what they would have to do is go to the court and try to file what do you call, what is it?
Next to kin, right? To show that you're the next person.
Yes, but
Right
I
to
don't know if
quiet
they
title.
would pay for that to do it.
Yeah,
And then they can give it or sell it to you guys for
But the-
$100.
So it ends up being a lose-lose all the way around, because no one's reclaiming these properties, because
So
just the
it'll-
cost
It'll
to
just
go in
sit
there. So, so it brings damage, it brings blight, it doesn't help with the housing situation.
Right.
And so we're stuck with an inability to do anything with those properties without someone paying some taxes. And I look at that and say, but that's a dead asset. It's a dead asset to the city, to the neighborhood, and to the county, in that if we were able to reclaim those, we put it back on the tax roll, somebody new would be paying a property tax, and so we're hurting ourselves by not having some mechanism in place to relieve the owner of the burden of having a property that they can't do anything with. And so where's our creative solution for this real problem, I guess is what I'm looking for. There has
So
to be
we have to
something.
wait 30 years for it
Okay.
to be obsolete, or either get the owner's kin to go up and file probate. Maybe that can happen, maybe the city can offer them to pay for the probate.
But wouldn't the county be a partner again, knowing?
Yes, but the
wouldn't
county, but you can work with the county too, to write off the taxes to put it back on the tax.
So again, I'm looking at
Possibly.
because it's in the county's best interest to put these things back on the rolls
Right.
too. Okay, we all benefit, everyone benefits by getting these back on the rolls. No one benefits, everyone loses by having these things just eyesores
Right.
and safety hazards.
I know.
And so there needs to be
Hands
some
are
way, well, there needs to be some way where we get to some mechanism, legal or
or illegal.
legal or just organizationally, right?
Right.
Whether you're talking to somebody, to where when you get it back in, you can go to the county, your partner, the county, and say, listen, I know they owe $20,000. No one's going to pay that. You're not going to get it. Can we wipe that, for a better word?
And that's what we
Okay.
can ask for an OBCC, but if we can get it out of that person's name into the city or into the county or to whoever,
Can we get it out of that person's name into?
if they go through probate.
Okay, and we need to know what the mechanism, what are the requirements, what's the rules of engagement to do that? Into, let's say TURA right now, since we're here. We move that into, I'm still calling it orphan property because nobody wants to come forward and say, that's mine, you
Well, it
know?
doesn't work that way.
I understand, but just for my, no one is coming forward and saying, I want that property, okay? We bring that into, we create some mechanism where that comes into the control of TURA, which is through the city sanctioned and put this together. Then we work with the county to do the
Exactly.
OCC, whatever, to make those dollars go away, to where now it's fresh, and we're not doing anything with it, we're almost a land bank. And there are land banks out there that do these sort of things. And we created a land bank of these properties that qualify we bring them in here, and then those are put on the market to the development community through an auction or something like that, to where they can bring those back into the
Right.
line and address housing.
But-
Is that a possibility?
But we've got to get them to either put it in the county's name or the city's name. We need to get somebody to authorize
I
that.
understand,
But it doesn't relieve the taxes though, right?
No,
The
How do we-
taxes are still owed by somebody.
yes.
but then how do we get the relief of the taxes?
That, if you ended up with this property off of Arizona, just say.
Yep.
Say this daughter of the deceased goes up and says, I want to do a probate on this piece of property.
Right?
And then she says, I just want a couple $100 for it. She can sell it to you for a couple $100.
Okay?
What about the 2,400, or 24,000?
That's up to the city to write off the city lien,
Yep.
and that's up to the county to write off the taxes.
But there's the ability.
With us, it's an OBCC.
Okay, but there's ability with reasonable people sitting at a table, understanding that this is the way out of reclaiming these pieces of property and addressing blighted conditions, which is the reason why we exist. And also, we have housing issues that affect recruiting people at the county, that affect recruiting people at our schools, affect people at our healthcare. This is a real issue. If we were to get, I would really like that, and you need to get out of here, but I'd really like to take this conversation to this next level, where we're actually putting what are the action items we need to take towards everybody sees it's in their best interest. We do make I'd rather take the $30,000 that we have for facade grants and give everybody that has one of these pieces of property a couple $100 and say, let's
Work out something.
let's work out something.
Sure.
You know, let's move those dollars over into that pot to really take active. And then get with the city and say, it's not in your best interest to want the $20,000, you'll get more. It took us 30 years to get to this bad place.
Exactly.
Let's get out of this bad
Yeah.
place and not spend another 30 years.
So do me a favor, get me a list of the 31 properties you're looking at, let me research them.
Okay.
And I'll let you know the history on it and what is,
And put a strategy. Maybe we do these
Yeah.
one by one. We say, okay, this one is a candidate, those aren't candidates. Because if we could bring 2 or 3, because our development community can't do 30 anyway. There's no way that we could hit 30 at a time, right? But if we knew what the strategy was and we knew we had a system in place that folks that own these properties know that there's an out down the road. And
Right.
maybe they're at 25 years into this 30-year process. But they know I can get out of this thing right now because I'm not going to do anything. Maybe we can give an escape, a parachute to some of these folks that are in this position, because none of these people
Yeah.
want to be in the position they're in either. No one's winning by this. And so if we can get to that list, and Tara, you can help us put that list together,
Yep.
and then you can do, in the time that you have, the research together of where those are, and then we can identify 5 of these that are good, then maybe we as a board can go back and say, okay, now how
They're
do we?
probably on here, more than
more than
likely.
likely,
More than likely, they're
yeah,
on
there
here.
probably are.
We have an ADO list for the city too.
And it would just befuddle me if the city were to say, no, we want our 12 grand, and the county were to say, no, we want our 20 grand. It would just confuse
We're
the
not
heck.
gonna get it.
You're not, that's monopoly money that we're thinking is on the board. It's not on the board. It's not in play. That money doesn't exist. Let's acknowledge it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Let's do something good.
And like I say, the county held lists, they're 30 years. I mean, you have to wait for 30 years before you can dissolve them. None of us will be here by
Right.
I mean,
Right.
yeah.
Let's say all of us are still
Maybe
here.
her.
Let's say all of us are still here and we did something about it
Yeah.
years ago, right? That's where I am. And Don, I really appreciate that. This is something very important. I know to me, I want 2025 to be something where we attack this. We've done some stuff downtown. We're going to do some things at the Opera House when that moves along. I would like for the TURA to be known as one of the change agents that had an effect on blight, safety, and moving homes
Right.
into the market. And
Yeah.
we need partners like the county and the city to say, yeah, we want to be part of that.
Get me a list what you're thinking of and looking at.
Beautiful.
And I will do a file on each one and let Ed know, and he can bring it to the board.
Thank you so much. Thanks,
You're welcome.
thanks, Chair, for this.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you. We're gonna win.
Go get 'em.
Go get them.
Thank you for everything
Thanks,
you do,
John.
by the way.
Appreciate it. Be
too.
safe.
You're welcome.
On your
Get them
travel.
to me before June, because I'm not gonna be here after that.
What?
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 Okay.
I'm finally retiring.
You are?
Oh, you're retired.
Okay.
The end of June.
You'll have them by the end of the year.
So who knows what's gonna happen after that?
We need 6
That's
months.
why I say get them to me as
Are
soon
you-
as you can.
Yeah, it's important. Tara, what that's,
Oh, and by the way, I'm gonna be hosting, the Colorado County Treasurer and Public Trustee Association conference here in June.
nice.
So we're gonna have all the treasurers from Colorado
Cool.
here.
Let's show them a good time.
Yes, please, I need the help.
Get with the chamber. We're in that.
Tell us if you
Okay.
need us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Donna.
I
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much for being
Thank
here.
you.
All right, that was very good. Thank you, Chair.
Is that,
That helps me a lot. Yep.
I would like to add something if we can, just, in our conversation. Not so much for you, Donna, but
Okay.
just.
Call
to
me if
see-
you have any
Thank you.
questions.
Thank you, Donna. Once, it's like the dog chasing a car, okay? When the car stops, the dog looking around saying, wow.
Smashes into it.
Yeah. So we get these properties. And then we find out it has all these other things. In other words, we did all this stuff to get it. And we gotta have somebody look at these things to see if it's, do we want to be having these properties? The one that, say, we'll take that one over there. That's a good one to work on. We need to have somebody go in and say, this is what we're getting, let's pursue this.
My only, and it's not a pushback or whatever, is unlike the dog in the car,
Yeah.
we're stuck with the car. We have the car in our mouth. It's still a property there. And whether it can be brought back from a development perspective or not, it's a problem that may just need to be bulldozed over
Yeah.
and made into a pocket park.
Mhm.
But right now, 30 years from now, these
Oh,
properties, they're just gonna be worse. No dog will chase them and we can't chase them.
But
I'm
no,
just
I
saying.
understand, I mean, I'm doing this all the time, this is what I
Yep,
do.
exactly. I know.
So I'm looking at this, I says, there's some properties that I looked at, I mean, I went around and you probably have too, and you said, do we really want this?
But you're kind of making my point. Not that TURA wants it, and not that it could be anything, but we don't want it in the condition it's in right now.
Well, this is what I'm saying. What can be done, according to Kent Robinson, and they can plow down.
Exactly.
They can cut it and get it down, and then the city has to take care of it forever.
Well, then it ends up being a weeded lot, but which is a lot better than some of the things that we have
But that
right now.
can take place. That's what we have to, I'm thinking of it being something that we have to look at.
Can I ask you, because you are our expert in this
Yeah.
area,
Yeah.
can I ask you to, in all that free time that you have,
Yeah.
can you look at the scenarios and bring back the scenarios of, if we had a property that was rebuildable that we could do, if this, then that, if we get it there, then it can be in this track. If it gets to this point, then it's not gonna be that, and it's gotta be one of these bulldozed
The
properties.
asbestos, some of those issues, you don't know until you get into it.
I understand.
Okay, so we got a great deal on some stuff at the college, but then all of a sudden it came back to where the asbestos was almost a killer. And so now it's not as, it was a good deal, but now it's not such a good deal. And we actually had that happen. And so it's up to us to, if we're gonna do that. Otherwise they can plow it down. Kent was going around knocking these houses down,
We still have the same problem with the asbestos though, because we have to abate it before we can demo it.
Yes.
But we're having an issue we have one on University that we're trying to get taken care of. There's no owner, he died.
Mhm.
There's no next of kin. We're having to go to court to get custody of it because of the fact that we've got people living in it with no utilities.
Yeah.
They're bringing prostitution, drugs, everything into that house. It's right next to the high school.
And a mound of trash.
Yeah, and we keep cleaning it, we
Yeah.
keep cleaning the yard, we've literally blocked the doors. They're removing the door walls or the plywood and getting back in the house.
Mhm.
We just went back there again and they're back in the house again.
Mhm.
And the cops keep pulling them out.
So again, a weeded lot
Mhm.
to a community is better than
Mhm.
what we have in
Right,
many of these
and
conditions.
I agree with that, that's what I'm saying. But
They don't have
I'm
all-
to the point where I would like to fix them up.
Yeah.
No.
You're pretty much saying, be careful what you ask for.
Right, and just, we have to have a strategy going, once she determines, like, these properties we're talking about, then say, these are available, we talk to the people and they say, yeah, we'll give them up for $100. Like you said, we might have them, and then they're on tourist deal and we're going over there cutting the grass and, knocking down.
But if we were able to if we would have been able to get that going on that particular house, the city could plow it down right now, and they wouldn't be boarding it up and unboarding it, boarding it up
We
and
have
unboarding
the
it.
issue
Yes.
that we can't take possession technically for it because we're a
Right.
municipality, so it would be nicer to be able to go, okay, well, TURA has.
Can an urban
control.
authority, that's what I'm
But
saying.
I'm all for fixing them up.
Can we be the entity that shields the city from the things they cannot do? That's why you have us, in order to do that. And not that we're the holder of those things, but we're at least a depository of now what can we decide to do with that property? Because before we had nothing. We have no control in many of these situations, and we need to move from a position of some control.
And this will take us to just what I would like to, just as we're discussing here, is that if we were to do this and we get these properties and say that it's too much on the college plate, I don't think it would be a bad idea to, this is Jerry talking. I would like to see something for the homeless, and not so much the home, they're gonna stay there. No, that they would be transitional and that they could go work on these projects and help fix them up.
See, and Jerry, we have that option. Look at the options we would have
Right,
if we took
exactly.
action, which we have no options right now except to just endure it.
Yeah,
And that's what I'm saying, this is a starting point, I'm just saying.
I'd love it.
But I'd love to see the homeless. I actually had a conversation with Steve Ruger, and he just said that, I said, they were talking about doing some tiny homes and doing those other things. I said, why don't we just continue with what we're doing through the college, but have another branch of somebody going out there and getting these homes, which I'm a fan of.
Yep.
And fixing them up and doing it, and then have the homeless that are, there's, instead of standing out there with a sign, possibly get them in.
I do a lot of work in that area, and there are enough that are rehabilitatable to the point of doing that. There are some
They'd
folks.
have to be
that
screened
need-
and
Exactly. There are some folks that need a little more assistance in other areas before you would
And
do
that would
that.
also help.
But it's
meet
an option.
another need. It's another need in
Exactly.
our community.
I'm encouraged, and Chair, again, thank you for that. I'm encouraged that it looks like
Yeah,
we have an off-ramp from some of the insanity we're stuck with right now.
right. I just want to speak, once we get there, like using it as term, he says, be careful what we
Yeah.
wish for, It's like, and Jerry's on the weekend over there plowing, doing the weed eater on all these properties.
Totally
I don't
agree.
want to do that.
Totally agree.
But
Yep.
anyway, that's all.
I wonder, I don't think the city would really object. That would be crazy.
City won't, but there's legal processes that you have to go through. The
Yeah.
thing of it is, you gotta go through that. In that one case where she talked about Arizona, may need the probate thing. that's, for example.
Provided we could get the probate done and the owners were agreeable. As far as the money, the liens, I can't see the city objecting.
It would make-
Louise
I
would
would
be
like
the
to
guy
dip our
to
toe
talk
in the
to.
water and at least try.
What would the county say?
Okay,
Would
just
they be?
to go on record saying that, I'd like to, if we can do this and find a house or two and say dip our toe in the water, find out what we can do between the city and the county, through TURA and that's doing that, and then do our own investigation as far as to say, hey, wait a minute, I don't know, we, in other words, before we plunge in with TURA funds, just to be able to say we've done all our due diligence.
Well, again, I think what the chair was just kind of saying, and what I understand Commissioner Heck saying is, let's figure out how this works.
If we do this.
And what you have to process is, and let's put our process book together.
Mhm.
Let's not buy or spend any money at all. Let's just figure out, can we do it?
It's
And what is the
exploratory
process
at this point.
of doing it? And if you were to do it, this is what the steps you'd have to take, legally, financially, and otherwise.
And if we
And
think-
okay, now we know what we can do and how to do it. Now, do we do it?
But if we can do this and figure it out, it'll be something that will be nationwide. We're talking about, because of all the, circular deals that come up, if we can do this, it'll be a pilot program for the rest of the nation.
And I agree with that, and I can also say, there's somebody in Colorado, Urban Renewal Authority, that's part of downtown Colorado.
Probably Global.
It's done this,
You think they would have done it, or?
something very similar.
Okay.
Because there are communities further, more mature than us that have had to deal with this problem. I mean, here's the thing, you change us a little bit and you put us 10 years ahead, and where the property values are going to be where they're going to be, buying these lots isn't as big a problem as they are right now.
Yeah.
If you had a lot in let's say Durango now,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what the abatement of those things, it's worth buying,
right.
right? So we're going to be moving ourselves just from an appreciation of value position to what we think now is expensive to deal with, isn't.
I like our discussion.
Yep, this is very good, thank you.
I'm done, yes, sir, thanks.
Yes? All right.
Good.
All right, moving on, item number 2, Earth Mountain Education Forum, lease renewal. That lease renewal is due 1st of January. And so, spoken with Jody Steiner, she's here this evening from Earth Mountain Education Forum. She has indicated that the lease, the desire to renew the lease, I sent you a copy of it, which you all have, and it's basically the same terms and conditions as been in the last couple of years, just with change of things. So, you know, it's on for action as well tonight, but you may want to go ahead and give your annual spiel to us.
Well, I'd love to, you know, if you haven't tapped into the Facebook page of the community garden, Mike is amazing.
Yep.
So finally I have a wonderful manager, and that makes all the difference in the world. So the last, 5 years has been amazing. So Mike McDaniel is the manager down there, and he's an avid Facebook, poster, and really building a lot of community around the community garden. So we had about 10 gardeners, individual gardeners this year that were pretty good gardeners too, in their own right. And we still do that. And then we also have the internship there. So we had 6 high schoolers working at the community garden on an internship. And I just have something to read about that because it was a mother or grandmother of the Behill family out in Aguilar. So we're getting kids from Branson, we're getting kids, Grace Christian was involved, kids come from everywhere to do this internship. And like on Cedar Street, the new garden, we had every single kid return. So on those 2 gardens, we're paying over 12 students to work at the gardens through the summer. So this is from Lawrence's mom. Just wanted to thank you for everything you did with the kids in this program this summer. Lawrence really enjoyed it and has a lot of respect for you, Mike. Because I hear Master Mike stories all day. What a wonderful experience the boys had. Thanks for everything. My younger son will likely be back to spend the summer next year, so if the program is run again, he would like to participate. Hopefully it's available because I think it's a great experience for the kids, especially kids like mine who have spent most of their time in the city. So it's just a small little, we get feedback a lot from the kids themselves. It matters who I hang out with, it matters how I spend my time. Mm-hmm. So having something like that, high exposure to, they're passing off the food that they grow to the community at a discount rate. So we also weigh everything that comes from that garden. So we had over 1,000 pounds of produce come from that garden because we.
That's on Linden.
On Linden. So an amazing amount of food. It's really contributing to the people who are looking for local food. And we do a lot of donation, a lot of volunteerism, and just kind of building that community around the community garden. So yes, we want to renew the lease. Things are really going well. And I like the terms that we're under. I didn't have anything to change with that. Now we've got a second space that's privately owned in downtown that we're under lease of. Earth Mountain is, which is people keep calling that the community garden. I say, no, it's not the community garden. The community garden's over here. This is more of a food access park, if you will. That's kind of what we're building over there, is a food access park with programs that are educational and things like that. So that's the future of that lot. But we appreciate your support. We appreciate that this all worked out with an urban renewal lot that we've had since 2005. When we first came to City Council as a group of people asking to see if there was any vacant lots. and this is what came about. And
They
there's-
gave you our lot.
on your, yeah, and I wanted the one right next to, between the senior center and where they put the top parking lot. There was the senior center and the daycare center, and there was nothing there.
Uh-huh.
They hadn't built the daycare center yet. And I was like, oh, that's perfect, right? But we're a block away.
Yeah.
So like COG has gone there, senior center's kind of a little bit tied. We can exchange food, things like that. So yeah, I appreciate it. We'd like to renew the lease, and definitely check in on that Facebook page because you're getting feedback all summer, and you're able to get that, the feel good, tingly for you guys, that something is happening that way in urban renewal. If there's any ever properties that you guys are considering that you think it's a great space to do something like that, we would be the organization. Not that other people are doing things, but we would be the organization that you might want to look at. In that previous discussion, teaming up with some type of nonprofit that might serve the homeless, it might be like they have an agenda to get something done too. So it made me think of like KTS. It made me think of that kind of more of like not just all on your shoulders, but maybe they have that goal also to have transitional housing for homeless or something. And we do have KTS, Keep Trinidad Safe Now, who is working in that realm. So that was on a different note.
Any questions? I do have some comments, but I'll go around the table.
So I'm a second-year member of the CSA. Not only is this garden producing 1,000 pounds of food, and not only is it helping kids just get their hands dirty and have something to do, but it has fostered growth of people growing food.
Oh yeah.
So it's not just what's in that little patch of ground over there that's going. People are in there, and again, I follow Mike, I follow this page, I'm embedded in the community there, I consider myself a member of the community there. You'll learn things about there that you take into your own garden at your house. So it has really been a catalyst for local food production by people. So it might be one of the best investments we make in that. And so I'm a big advocate, big supporter. The food is great. You start off, and I highly recommend it, you start off with the bag weighs a little bit, then next week the bag weighs more, and by the end you're asking somebody to help you get the bag to your car. And again, it has fostered local food production across our whole area, and I would say our region. I just thank you for what your team do, and big supporter, and love that we have an opportunity to make that available. Thank you.
Sure.
Well, I've been there, I've seen what you do, I really like it, and from my perspective as a science teacher, I just love what you're doing. I mean, and then the possibilities of partnering to do things if we plow a property up and we don't want just weeds, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, we have been a good model for
So.
a long time, so we know how
Listen,
to
we
do
want
it.
community partners. I mean, that's important.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for what you do, and also just even working with the youth is always a win-win. It's just a good thing, and giving them the hands-on, and being part of something like that is really good. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I'm a good supporter.
And put it into your bag when it comes to, as we're changing and mandates are changing and things like that, put it into your bag for community resiliency. And that you see that word a lot now because we're in climate change, because we're in crazy times, and we need more community resiliency. So I would say this is community resiliency with more food on the ground. So if people needed to know whether it be the knowledge, whether it be where to go, or to be a part of something to gain some support in that's in that bag, of local food movements.
One of the things on there, and I don't know, and I have to go, but one of the things under the conditions of the lease is number 13, where you have to provide a copy of the rules that govern
Yes.
And so, could you please provide an updated copy of that? Because
Sure.
you're supposed to have some posted rules there.
Yeah.
And so if we could get a copy of it, because that is a part of the lease.
Yeah, I didn't
So if
bring that
you,
with me
if you
today.
do that, we'll, it's up for action tonight, and the assumption is it'll go to approval, and you and I will get together and execute the lease, and it'll go of record. But that's the only thing I wanted to bring up at this point to you, is that still exists in there, so, if you've got any, the rules of conduct, or whatever it is over there, that is supposed to be, come to copy, with copy to us.
Okay, no problem.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Just to give everybody a little bit of history on that, because Joni did say that they got the possession of that, possession of that property in 2005. There was not an active urban renewal authority in 2005, so therefore the city, it was at least with the city, but it was really basically city-owned land. And so, like, I don't know, last Easter before, I spent most of my Easter Sunday recreating the lease that you see in front of you, because what was out there was like one and a half page, not very broad, or I can't say comprehensive, but so that it was, I wasn't in good graces at home, because I spent my Easter
And
Sunday.
that was only a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I think I was on the board at that time, yeah.
I got a letter in the mail that they were terminating the lease without any discussion.
Well, it was only because
It
we
was
had to
because
go
it was
through
not
yeah,
valid,
And then,
yeah.
so that's where it's all at.
Yeah.
And this property is one of 4 TURA-owned properties, okay? And it's probably the best of them. There's 2 of them that are like hillside next to an apartment complex, Casa Villa. There's one lot that, it's sandwiched between 2 buildings, we own it. And the other one is a hillside that it'd be the southernmost part of where the southern building that abuts the highway. TURA owns this ginormous hillside that goes and comes up to the highway right away.
Tubing Hill.
Yeah. And then the other property is up on North Denver. You'll go up there, and there you'll see a cutout in the curb. There's like a little, you can go in and actually park cars, and that belongs to us as well.
Well, it's good to be us.
Well, no, they've been around for a long time, and like I say, the usage is something that maybe we need to look at in the future, how we're going to,
Very good.
that the one up there is, when we talked about it a few years ago, it's not really a buildable lot because there's no sewer. The closest sewer is, I don't know, 1,000 feet away or something. And so, this is one of 4 TURA-owned properties, and that's how that is there.
Great use. Appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Have a safe trip home.
Okay.
Okay, item number 3, Heirs and Associates. Where we do have an agreement with them that goes year to year. We've not utilized it all that much, but they're available for services. And so, we will, getting a little bit forward into this, but, it's on call. We only pay for services that we get by the hour. And so it's up for renewal again. I don't know if we even used them at all in 2024. I don't think we did. I don't think we paid any bills on it. But, the person that we deal with is Mike Scholl. His hourly rate is $210 an hour, as needed. And then whatever administrative assistant he uses, it'll be, that piggybacks on that. But that's up for renewal. The terms and conditions are basically the same as what they've been in the past. And again, there is for on-call services. We don't pay unless we use, and we're only paying for the hours billed that they put into whatever they do for us. We did pay them. They had to provide us an estimate of what they're going to do, what they might be doing for us. So we've got one bill to them this year for like $230 or something like that. So it's on for renewal. Is there any questions on it?
Yeah. So first of all, I like having access to them. I think they're important. I think our advisors and our counselors and the folks that have experience really help fill in the gaps, because sometimes we don't know what we don't know, and I like them there. I'm looking at the contract terms and conditions though, and I just find it, I'm kind of, I would have liked to have seen the contract from the last time, because I'm looking at this saying, okay, performance service, billing and payment, no, access to site, owner shall furnish right-of-way project site. location of utilities, hazards. I'm looking at this saying, is this contract specific? Are they trying to make this specific to the Opera House or something like that? Because we have 3 lots, we don't have any buildings, I don't know what the contract terms, conditions, I don't know what they're referring to, that they would need us to provide furnish right of entry to the project site for consultant, how they're going to help us find location of utilities, how they're going to be involved in any hazardous material investigation. 3, 4, and 5 confound me of what are we contracting them for that? I thought the contract we had before with them was in things, and so when I go up even to their letter that does that in basics, under scope of services, basic services, facilitate the creation of an annual work plan, provide budget management, oversight, and coordination with board chair, provide service-related communication, including monthly updates, social media updates. I looked at basic services and core services and say, do we need any of the, I want access to heirs and associates, but I don't know if we need any of the services they're actually asking us to contract them for. What am I missing here?
What they're saying here is this is what they can offer. If we call on them to provide these kinds of services, they will do it at an hourly rate of what, like, it's the same, basically the same contract as it was a year ago.
Is it?
If you look into your November minutes from 2023 at this time, it's offering the same services. It's the same thing. And when and all those things that they're saying, like what you just asked, like on the 3, 4, 5, it's basically if we call on them to do services, provide us consultation services on a project, and these are applicable, this is what we say, okay, we want you to come and do it, like with this thing with the Opera House. Okay, they're going to they would come in and make sure that what is being billed for, they will make an initial site visit when we ask them to come, and make a final site visit when the project is done. We have to make sure that they have access to be able to go and take a look at what it is that we would be asking them to do. So it isn't, in the event that we need certain services from them, this is a caveat or terms and conditions
Okay.
of what we have to do if we're asking them to perform services. We have to make sure that there's a clear way for them to get there, whatever it applies to with the hazardous material says, where it's just saying that, we will.
I guess I'm looking at this, and maybe it's just that I'm more seasoned on this board.
Okay.
And have done things, and looking at this saying, I don't know when we would, and again, when Mike did that Zoom meeting with us a year or 2 ago, probably within the same period of time before, spelling out kind of things, I thought it ended up being more consultative services on more general things that we do, okay? And again, I'm looking at this saying, we're going through a budget right now. We're not really looking at them to help us with our budget. We're going through.
It's not costing us anything.
It doesn't cost us anything.
No, I understand, but so I guess that's kind of my point. What on this list would we be utilizing of theirs that would cost us
You
something?
never know.
Well, I'll give you for instance.
Please.
They were pretty instrumental and did most of the work when the city gave us that piece of land down there that Tim Lamb has been on. He came in and we did the extension on the agreement. Ayers and Associates was used extensively to create the development agreement and all those things. That was actually put together by him. So in the year 2021, which is the year within that period of time that we were given that piece of land by the city of Trinidad, in order to get it to the sale point to them, Ayers and Associates was used to create all the agreements and do all that.
That helps me, because I'm looking at something, and that's in core service assistance with development agreements and negotiation strategy. Okay, I said, I'm looking at some of the things after being here a couple of years and saying, I don't see any place where we've needed much of those things, and you just gave me.
We needed them to the tune of about $12,000 in 2021.
Very good, very good. I'm looking at this and saying,
they
okay,
have
where
it
does this
used,
fit
Yeah.
in what we need? Thank
The
you.
past couple of years has been minimal.
I want them on our team.
Yeah.
I just wanted to figure out where do they fit? Where do they play?
Yeah, that's where it all went, and they're still capable of doing that now. Any of those services we need,
Very
they
good.
can still do that.
Thank you, sir.
And So anyway, that's where it's at, and that's the, for instance, they guided us through all of that. He created all the documents and everything that had to be for the sale of that
Awesome,
land.
and, yeah, they have, okay, very good.
Yeah,
No, it's a no lose for us.
yeah, we don't pay unless we use it. Just
Exactly.
pay for service.
And you never know in the future what's gonna be
Yeah,
needed.
exactly, and it'd be a lot easier to make a phone call, say, this is what we need, rather than start and have to go out and find something like that.
Oh,
Because
no.
not all of it has to go to an attorney.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
And I just wanted to piggyback some of the stuff that you were just saying, Pat, because a lot of the things is, we just kind of, being here for a couple of years now, I looked at it and I said, what do they do? I've pretty much gone on trust, trusting that this is the way that things are operating. But when you just mentioned that too, and I can see the menu, basically what they can provide for us, it only is going to help us to have somebody on board.
I agree.
Yeah, and just as an FYI, what did he tell me? He's just been working on a substantial, some kind of a plan for one of the URIs out on the western slope. So, I mean, they've got URA specialists, and if it's not him, there's other people.
Well, having access to them has been.
Yeah, there's other people in the
I just didn't
practice.
correct what they were saying with what
No, but
my
I'm glad you
experience
brought that
is,
up.
you know?
And like in the event, well, and like that 3, 4, 5 that you're asking about
Yeah.
there, should we had needed them to come on premises, which, was easy to do because that was just a visual of an empty lot. But if we needed to have them come to do something on a premises like that, the access, if there's something to do with hazardous.
Okay.
So that's what this contract is stating for stuff that are associated.
I guess almost Commissioner Begley's, I've been here long enough to say, okay, now educate me a little bit more about the
Yeah.
why we're here.
We knew they were important, but
Yeah.
you just clarified it.
Very good.
And like I said, I trusted that they were a good, I'm all for it.
Oh, yeah, like I say, other than that, you'd go look for we'd be looking for another consultant somewhere.
No.
No, we like we're good.
Yeah.
We're good with our team.
They got our back, so.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move
Okay.
on. Item number 4, 2025 budget. I've presented that before, we've talked about it, changed just a couple of light items on there to make sure of it. And one of those light items was to make sure that we have our allocation for our contribution to the assistant planner position for the assistants going into the year. So we just took that away from we changed the number on the consulting and admin fees from 55,000 to 43, and then added the $12,000 line item for that particular one. So that's where it's all at. And so we've talked about it. This is where it's at. Yeah, tonight's meeting, it will go to have a public hearing on the regular meeting. If approved, then I will have the resolution for final passage in December.
You did really good, thanks, Ed.
Couple just
Absolutely.
kind of questions. I'm looking at opportunities for 2025, and I know we have the facade grant there. And is there any flexibility? Can we build in some flexibility that if we don't have any applicants for that facade grant that actually are qualified applicants doing things, because we're reducing the number of people that can qualify for that as things change hands or whatever. Is there any flexibility in that for us to apply that someplace else in 2025?
Well, you've got renovation projects, so you got 326.
Talking about that, if that $30,000 that's for facade grants, if it doesn't, I know we can pull from some of the places, is that open to, if there was something else, is that hardwired to facade grants, even if we don't do any facade grants? Or is that flexible for us to recap those dollars back into the budget for some other use, if an opportunity comes
I
up?
would say yes.
Okay, all right.
I would say, yeah, I mean, we've got it there, and if we get the applicants, that's as far as we can stretch it, but if it doesn't get used, that can be used other.
Very good, very good. I was thinking that, but I just
Yeah.
wanted
Yeah.
to know that.
But that 326,000 that sits there can fall within those same parameters, so we've got that kind of funds.
So I'm looking at then you look at the 471,202, that's cash on hand, and then we have the in-bank balance that was included in here, and that was the 580,781. It's about $109,000 different. Where is that? So we have cash on hand in our budget, and then $580,000 is what our cash is looking at in bank. What's the difference?
What I-
I'm sure it's someplace where it's,
Yeah, where it is you'll look at, that number is reduced because we would have to take money. If that $140,000 loan,
So
that will have to go to, that, it's still $140,000 that belongs to us, but that's gonna be a CD at Five Star Bank.
so that can, okay, go, I knew that, I was just, needed to
That's fine,
identify
that's fine.
kind of where that is. And then, I don't know if this has to do with the budget, but it's kind of correlating in my head as we move forward. Because we have the 140, it'll go to Five Star Bank will have a CD there. We're gonna actually maybe have the opportunity to create a revolving kind of loan fund. As people pay us interest, that'll be revenue. We'll have an ability, they'll have the ability to repay the loan with no early payment penalty.
Right.
When we want them to do that, so we can actually recycle those funds. When would be a time to, because I'm now looking at Five Star Bank working with us to help us with our mission to move forward. I don't have any problem with M-Bank, but when would we have a discussion is this an opportunity for us to look at Five Star Bank to move our funds from M-Bank to?
Well,
I mean,
I was gonna bring it up when we got to actually for the financial statement. If you'll note the information there,
Yeah.
we are actually garnering interest now at InBank. Began in September. The InBank is actually paying, and let me find my page. And I was gonna bring that up when we got to the
And again, we can hold that off, but my question will be, is there an opportunity for us to move funds from an entity that may or may not have been helping us with these revolving things, and moving that to a bank that it's still local, that is helping us with that? And again, if it's an interest thing, maybe we can get a match, maybe it can be matched there. I just look at one thing and say, we have all of our funds over here, but this other bank is the one really helping us do some of our work.
Well, that bank is helping us because the borrower went to Five Star Bank, and Five Star Bank is accommodating the Opera House request. They picked the bank, not us.
Would we have a question to in bank to say, if we were to do the same thing with you, would you be doing this?
More than likely, yeah.
Okay.
The shopping could happen. Okay, that's what
I know in my business, if I have an entity working a lot with me, I have no problem moving my assets or my funds to the place that actually is helping me the
Right.
most.
Well,
to get my stuff done.
the thing to remember there is that option of where that loan came from was left to the borrower.
I think
The borrower is going to be accommodated by.
I think that makes it makes a
Okay.
big difference. Very good.
So
Okay, that's all I have.
So let's go back then. Let's go, and then as of September, I gave, and this was a little maybe erroneous information on my part last month, because I just read it all, and I presented it all as TIF income. But actually, if you'll look, and I provided you with the September and the October statements of revenue and expenses, and in the year-to-date total, which was the first month that they gave us any money, was $1,184. And you go to the end of October of 2024, our cumulative total on other revenue, and that's the only revenue we get besides TIF, is $2,408. So we are beginning to get interest on
That's wonderful.
our money in the bank.
And is there a reason why that changed? Why did we've had funds there for a period of time? Did we hit a certain balance that you need to hit?
No,
Or did they
actually,
just change something internally where they're doing that in order to be
they
more
changed
competitive?
internal. It was an
Okay.
internal change. It was,
All right.
it was one that we became aware of as a result of our business relationship with them. A couple of months ago, there was a representative in bank that came from, I don't know if he's from Pueblo or Colorado Springs,
Okay.
but indicated that they were going to begin paying, there was going to be a rate of return for commercial accounts.
Nice, okay.
Any other questions? The other thing, and I did put a hard copy at your seating places. Just want everybody to know that a lot of the revenue that sits in that bank account is as a result of the city of Trinidad in 2017 gave us $100,000 from the cannabis proceeds during that particular year. In 2021, they deeded us, 2020, I believe, and it took us several months because of COVID and a lot of other difficulties, to be able to get the finality of the sale of that land across from the Toyota dealership. But they gave us that piece of property, which we went out and were able to sell. It was a $75,000 selling price. We netted around $64,000 from that. And then last year we were able to sell the Hughes Property Building, and we had a net gain of $159,000 for $113 and change. So $341,500 is what we've been able to realize out of that money that we have in there, because our sole revenue source is TIF. Our tax increment money is our sole source of revenue unless things like this happen.
Yeah.
So that running balance that you see in there today of that 580, 341 is as a result of the generosity of the city of Trinidad.
Well, I think the city created a renewal authority, and investing in it in order to have those things is in everybody's best interest. So it's a great investment of the city to, first of all, create urban renewal, and second of all, to help fund it through
Yeah.
these kind of things. I see great things ahead. So,
But I just wanted to bring that in there so you would know
Nice.
that where our only revenue source really is tax increment.
well, and pretty soon a revolving loan fund.
Yeah. Some money there.
All right, that's it on the budget. Anything else? Item number 5, the Trinidad Opera House. At the time that I put this agenda together, I gotta tell you, it was last Thursday that we're scurrying to get it in because I was almost anticipating, and it did happen, City Hall closed. And so the assistance that I got, I scurried to get it, and Nick Mason made sure that I got the agenda put together. They were able to get it on the website and get it to the public posting. So at that particular time, there was no updates on the Opera House. There have been no updates until today.
Huh?
Okay. Today, I was contacted by Paul Glenn, and because I've been waiting, and I contacted Lisa a couple times by email. What's the status? She says, I'll refer to Paul Glenn because it hadn't got there. Well, they did get an estimate from their contractor of choice. And right now, for what the anticipated cost of fixing that corner up, that corner of that building, and and then the floor damage there, that bid came in at around $274,000,
Wow.
which is substantially higher than we had talked about. Does not include, because one of the things they were talking about, they wanted to include the soft costs. So the original request of $100,000 plus another 40 to cover all the soft costs, which include our fees to get the loan, are included. So that 274, if it's another 40, we're going to top 300 on that. So we got to go back to the table at some point, but that's going to be up to the borrower of how they want to handle whatever they're going to do with the building. So that's where it's at today. I did that conversation late morning with Paul, and so it's just a matter of, it's out there. It's a wait and see to what next step they want to do before they come back and see what we're going to do with it. So it's in the owner developer's court right now.
So it's gonna get delayed.
There will be some delay because now there's going to have to be something go on with their.
Well, I mean, it's kind of easy to see that they're either going to need to ask us for more money in a bigger loan, and at the same time bring some of their own money, or there needs to be a different plan.
And that's one of the things.
Right.
A different plan is a probability.
Yeah, I mean, we're at a point right now which I think has been good, because this has taken a lot of time, and I can say there's been no delays from this board's representatives. But this has taken a long time, and I think we're at least at rubber meets road now, because tracking down this number of what's the real number. And here's the thing, as you know, we do this 3 months from now, the number will change.
I know,
That 3 months from now, the number has changed. This number has changed a lot just based on just inflation and how cost of things, and trying to get contractors and folks that'll do it. So I think what we need to try and do is encourage them that they need to come to us with what do you need from TURA? What is that number? Is that Is it the 140? Is it the 200? Is it fill in the blank wherever you are? And then how are you going to fill in any gaps that are in there? And then the question really is, okay, what if you do? What's Plan B?
And that's,
Right.
that was the thought from Paul today. We gotta figure out a plan B.
Okay, I think that's
Yeah.
I think we can all see that that's
Right,
where
and
we
then
are.
when that
now.
happens, and he said, we'll get with me and you and get that so it can be brought back.
Okay.
But yeah, but that's when it came through. And again, had this formulated back in, say that happened June or July.
Yeah.
That forming thing was not known.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, had all that gone through and all that came in, what would have been, and where would it be at now? Because you'd have had, the loan process and everything had gone through at the original amount of 140, and all of a sudden now there's bigger things involved.
Yeah.
We haven't created any delays, it's just circumstances.
Can I
govern, and
ask, did they go and bid it out, or did they just pick one
We've
contractor?
got one contractor that was willing to look at it. They may have, their plan B may require to have to do.
Because I know that on their building permit, they have Arc Valley,
Yeah.
which I know Paul Glenn tends to only work with Arc Valley. I'm just wondering if they.
With this project, there haven't been many people coming forward and wanting. It hasn't been a competitive process
Yeah.
for anyone.
Well, I know Lisa's having trouble getting somebody to look at the roof.
Yeah, Drury Brothers out there, if you'll remember that when she last stood in
She
front of
just
us.
got a list from me for another 15 contractors that I have that will do roofs, but I don't think she's gonna find anybody. She's just wanting to patch it. They're not wanting to replace it. None of the contractors are gonna be willing to do that.
Yeah, it's a callback nightmare.
Well, and I think the patching is in anticipation of getting grant funds to be able to
Yeah.
replace the
They're
entire.
working with History Colorado.
Yeah, so that's where it's at right now, and I guess they were, probably get their heads together and create a plan B, whatever that might be, is, change the scope of the project or whatever. The big thing is to make that place safe.
Yes.
Exactly.
So that's where it's at, and until we hear from Gib, then when I get more contact, and I will get in contact with Commissioner Howlett, and we'll resume discussions. Item number 6, sort of already covered it, but again, welcome to our booth. Planning assistant, I guess, is the
Is my
title, and so she will be, one part of that job is to assist us,
Mhm.
and so
We just got better. We
You
just
guys
got
can
better.
call
Money well
me,
spent.
email
Money well
me, whatever you guys need, I will try to assist in any way I can.
We just
Or
got
I'll
better.
get you in contact with who you need to be in contact
Yeah.
with.
Very good.
Thank you.
This is a very good thing. Welcome.
Thank you.
Item number 7, Hughes Lumber property update.
Ta-da! This will be short and brief because
Oh,
when I texted in my text message conversation with Carl, he says nothing going on yet, but it's brewing. It looks like it's going to. They're going to work the facade and all the other stuff, but still waiting for that green light type of thing. And so,
Is it still with History Colorado as well?
yeah, and
Okay.
it's.
That's,
But anyway, he just said there's really nothing on his end that he could really share with, didn't have any real news. And I says, I don't know if I should be concerned or not, but anyway, it's just one of those things where, coming to the meeting, I just want to be able to say,
yeah.
no news, but
You did
it's,
you did your job.
yes. And yet at the same time, like to be able to have a lot of stuff to say, but I just don't tonight, so,
Yep.
okay, that's.
Okay, item number 8, again, the monthly reminder of our board vacancies. Item number 9, items for future discussion.
I just would like to continue with what we talked about, the 31, let's start on that plan.
Yeah. not a
Okay,
problem.
so however we want to title round 2 of this discussion of these properties and how we get Donna what she
Does anybody
needs.
have the 31 that you guys have looked at? Because I have
I'll ask
104
Jeff and-
ADO buildings on my.
I'll ask Jeff and Keely Williams had it. I think we had it in our
Yeah.
packets at one time. We're gonna go find what it
Keely and
is.
John were kind of hard on it, and then Keely was working on it, and then now, she's no longer here, so.
I can reach out to Keely, that's not a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
I can text her, but
But once we get you those.
Well, the inspection department had that.
my
Yeah.
list is 104. I have 104 houses on my ADL list. We have 72 that are active, that we are constantly reaching out to.
So can you take some time and actually start tiering those?
Yeah, no.
There's, let's say there are hundreds, maybe some of them just, again, not knowing what I'm talking about, but some of them may be 25 years in a 30-year cycle. Well, those are excluded right now because they got 5 more years to mature in order to move forward. And so we can get to that point.
Yeah, that's
Of
fine.
what-
I have it's a database, so I can share it if you guys want to, because I created it for my boss downstairs so that he can keep a look on it.
But being on the ADO does not mean that they're on tax delinquency.
I can cross
Yeah.
reference.
So they might be on that,
That's what I'm saying.
on the crappy list.
Work whatever
Yeah.
manipulation has to be done to
Yeah.
get
I
down
agree.
to a list of what we actually can work with so we can come up with that. Okay, if we could do it, how would we do it, right?
Yeah, not a problem. I can cross
And
reference.
so I'd really like if we can keep that on our future agendas for a little bit until we come up with that output of what do we need to do that.
I agree with that.
Anything else?
No, that's a lot.
Okay. All right then, that concludes the work session. We're ready to go to regular meeting.
Okay.
It is 6:40 PM. Today is November the 14th, 2024. This is the regular meeting of the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Item number 1 is a roll call. And I will go with, I have to do this the hard way. Next month, will you be able to, I'll get you that so you can do our roll call and stuff
Yep,
like
not a
that?
problem.
Okay, so we're gonna go with, I'm just gonna go around the table. Commissioner Hecht. I'm sorry, Commissioner Howlett.
Here.
Commissioner Hecht.
Yeah,
Commissioner Bailey.
Here.
Commissioner Lopez. Grego. Here. Just, I forgot to mention that Commissioner Lopez did contact me today, said he would not be here tonight. So I knew in advance, I just forgot, it just got ahead of me. Okay, item number 2, approval of the minutes from the October 2024 meeting. Everybody was provided with an advance copy of those minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
And motion, second it.
Commissioner Howlett with the motion, Commissioner Bailey with the second. Comments, questions? Roll call. Oh, it's me, I'm sorry.
I can take over. You want me to take over
We
that?
go for- yeah. Okay, we'll start out with Commissioner Howlett.
Yes.
Commissioner Heck,
yes,
Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Grego, yes. Item number 2, acceptance of the financial report. Motion.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second that motion.
Commissioner Bailey with the motion, Commissioner Hecht with the second. Comments, questions? I think I sort of covered that when we went back, that we are, we picked up $2,400, and actually, I have a check back there. Donnelly and Eddie had mailed the October tip. It was only like $180, so I think we're at the end of whatever tip was available for 2024 when we got that. So, our year-to-date revenue was $61,299.
It was a good year.
It was a good year. It was a good year.
Right.
All right. More questions, comments, roll call. Howlett,
Yes.
Hecht,
Yes,
Bailey,
Yes.
Grego, yes. Item number 4, consideration of bills. We have one bill, which is for $21.66 to the Chronicle News for the publication of the public hearing we will have tonight on the budget. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the bill to Chronicle News for the legal publication of budget notice of $21.66.
Commissioner Howlett with the motion,
I'll second that.
Commissioner Hecht with the second. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Howlett, yes.
Hecht,
Yes,
Bailey,
Yes.
Grego, yes. Petitions or communications, oral or written? Is there anyone in the sitting audience that would like to address the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority? Let the record reflect that no one has come forward. Item number 6, old business. Item number 7, new business. Item number 1 is a public hearing on the 2025 budget. Hearing is now open. Anybody in the sitting audience that is here to comment on the 2025 budget? Let the record reflect that there is no one here present to comment on the budget. Anybody on the commission have any questions, comments? Have we covered that?
No.
All right. 2025 budget hearing is now closed. Item number 7, Earth Mountain Education Farm Incorporated. It's a lease new renewal for 2025. Presented that document to everyone and got to hear from Joni Steiner representing Earth Mountain Education Farm. Have you seen it? Any questions, comments? Is there any motion?
Motion to approve the lease with the understanding that the leasee will provide you with the rules that are in the lease.
And I will second that.
Commissioner Howlett with the motion, Commissioner Bailey with the second. Any other questions or comments? We'll go to roll call. Commissioner Howlett,
Yes.
Commissioner Hecht,
Yes,
Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Grego, yes. Item number C, Ayers and Associates, 2025 contract for service. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Hecht. with the-
Second.
Commissioner Howlett with a second. Questions or comments? Roll call. Commissioner Howlett,
Yes.
Commissioner Hecht,
Yes,
Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Commissioner Grego, yes. Item number 8, reports by executive director. Don't really have anything, but throughout this time, I now only remember when I came to mind now, or today when I was looking at the financial information. I've given acknowledgement to a lot of people that have assisted us through the time, but I've forgotten to mention that we do get services from the finance director for the city of Trinidad. Cheryl is the one that provides to us the bookkeeping services.
Nice.
And provides this information to us. And so I haven't publicly acknowledged that in the past, and that's an error, or I'm remiss about that, but I just want to bring that up, that Cheryl Navarrete, the finance director, does assist by taking care of that and provides that to me whenever I ask, so I did want to bring that up.
I appreciate you acknowledging that. That's a wonderful thing, and we appreciate her doing that.
Yeah, so it's one that, forgot up until this time, but wanted to publicly be known. Commissioner Howlett, we'll go to reports by commissioners. Commissioner Howlett?
Nothing to
Okay.
report.
well, just a comment on something that happened yesterday. I'm a board member of the GIFts program for senior citizens, and we had a meeting yesterday, and you probably know Penny Saidi. Well, she's got a different last name, she just got married, but she owns a building on Main Street, and she was talking to, just off the cuff, talking about the rehabilitation of the building, and maybe she's going to sell it and so on. And I struck up a conversation about the Opera House, and it just brought to mind that very few people actually know what we do. It's just, I said, well, listen, maybe if you come up with a plan, you could present it to the board and something could be done. But, we're all about trying to rehab Main Street, and I believe it's an historic building.
Our building's a very nice.
It's on
right across
it's on the
street.
corner,
Animus and,
It's
yeah.
called the West.
Yeah, the west.
West.
right next to Carl's building.
Yeah, and, it just struck me that she's in the know, and she didn't even know what we do. So nobody really knows what we do. I don't know how you change that, but it just.
Like you just did. Sometimes one at a time. We've talked about outreach to property owners. I think we maybe do something along that, but yeah, it would be nice to have her come to us.
I don't know. She's talking about selling the building, but if she can't sell it, she has to do something with it. Well, maybe she'll come up with a plan. So who knows?
She's been trying to sell it for years, she's asking for a lot of money for it.
So
Well, again, I think having, whether you're selling it or keeping it, if you have a building downtown and it's in our area, you should come talk to us. That's an open invitation. You should come talk to us. Because if you sell it, the next person may want to talk to Urban Renewal and find out what we can do. If you keep it, you'll want to find out
I'll pass that
what we
along
do,
to her.
right?
Well,
You should at least come talk to us.
possible buyers there are possible buyers out there that are familiar about doing things with an urban renewal authority that could create
Exactly.
something, so
We
that.
might open up the market for her.
Yeah,
And it,
I don't have anything in here, so, thank you.
all right. If there are no other questions or comments by the commission, we're item number 10, adjourned.
Motion to adjourn?
I will second that.
Commissioner Hollett with the motion.
That's our favorite.
Commissioner Bennett with the second. If there are no further questions or comments.
And you were brought up too, at the meeting, because the gifts program is all about helping senior citizens in this community, a big need, and.
I qualify.
It does.
We all.
And I said, well, I've got this, gentleman that I work with, and you know Gail.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I said, this is what he does, and I said, you got a whole bunch of people that are in the college that you work with, maybe some of those people be interested in helping out with some programs that we want to do with the senior citizens. And it's all about community, and that was the whole thing about yesterday's meeting that we had, and that's what I